Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. And allow me to begin this video by taking you back to 2022. I want to take you back to that particular day Wafula Chebukati officially declared William Samoei Arap Ruto as the president-elect of the Republic of Kenya. I want you guys to go back to that particular day and also go back to the day William Ruto was officially sworn into office as the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. I want to assume you are now there. If someone had told you at that particular moment in time that by December 2024, William Ruto would be struggling with his re-election, would you have believed him? If someone had told you at that time that Gachagua was going to be the thorn in the flesh of William Ruto, would you have believed that person? Because most people believed, including myself, that William Ruto and Gachagua were going to fall out, and that fallout was going to be worse than the one we witnessed between Uhuru and Ruto. But nobody would have imagined that William Ruto would be struggling in his bid of getting, that William Ruto would be struggling to get re-elected in 2027. Because number one, in 2022, William Ruto won the presidency as an outsider. He defeated Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. In short, William Ruto defeated the entire deep state as an outsider. William Ruto also enjoyed the goodwill of the Kikuyu nation at that time. And having been elected, and because power attacks people, most people believed that William Ruto was only going to go, for example, to the Luhya nation and maybe northern Kenya to seal his re-election. And of course, there was also the feeling that Raila Odinga supporters were fatigued after voting without success. And therefore, in 2027, Raila Odinga was not going to be on the ballot. And even if he were to be on the ballot, fatigue were going to kick in and most of his supporters were not going to turn up, and therefore low voter apathy in Raila Odinga's strongholds. And of course, after defeating Raila Odinga, there was a strong feeling that William Ruto was not going to get a credible candidate to challenge him. In fact, that's why after Gachagua left him and William Ruto was exposed, the general feeling in Kenya was that William Ruto can be easily removed from office. But the question has always remained, who can remove William Ruto from office? And that is why the meeting today between Rigathi Gachagua, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and Eugene Wamalwa is critical. In this video, I want us to do a critical analysis why that meeting is actually giving William Ruto and his allies serious political headache. But before we do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let us just discuss a bit of politics today. Which formations do you think are likely to emerge ahead of 2027? For me, I'm looking at 3 formations which are likely to emerge. William Ruto will be defending his seat, and that's the first formation. And that formation, in my view, is likely to include Raila Odinga. That's the first formation. The second formation, which is forming the basis of this analysis, in my view, is going to be the formation led by Rigathi Gachagua. And that formation is likely to have Martha Karua. That formation is likely to have Kalonzo Musyoka. Is likely to have Eugene Wamalwa. Who else? And Fred Okengo Matiang'i. And then there is the third formation. This is going to be what is called third force. People who will be running on credibility. For me, they'll not go anywhere, because Kenyans normally go to the polls without their brains, so they cannot elect credible leaders. So that's where Omtata is. That's where a GNC candidate is going to emerge. And maybe another force is going to emerge. But those are, for me, those are some of the 3 political formations which are going to emerge. And based on numbers, the fact that Rigathi Gachagua left with the mountain has exposed William Ruto, because that move alone has removed close to 4 million votes from the grip of William Ruto. And that's why the meeting today is significant, politically speaking. Before we get into all those details, for those who are watching the channel again, click that subscribe button. By the way, what were the details, or what were the main objective of that mission? Number one, crafting the winning formula. The secret, which Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Eugene Wamalwa don't want to tell you, is that they've agreed that they're going to front one of them. Rigathi Gachagua has already accepted that he might not be on the ballot. So his main aim is to ensure that William Ruto is sent home. That is the primary objective of Rigathi Gachagua. So Rigathi Gachagua is generally trying to help craft a team that is going to defeat William Ruto in 2027. And according to their plan, if they can get the Kikuyu nation, 3-point-something million or 4 million, if they can get the entire Kamba, they are projecting Kamba nation to be 2 million, and if they can get the Bukusu votes, and that's why they are keen on having Natembeya as the running mate to Kalonzo Musyoka, then they believe they can win. So this is one of their strategy, the winning formation, because there's also the Matiang'i factor, but Matiang'i factor is being pushed by Uhuru Kenyatta, and therefore this team is not comfortable with Fred Okengo Matiang'i. So they meant to craft that winning formation. Number two, they also discussed post-Raila Odinga AU bid. Raila Odinga contested to become the chair of the African Union Commission. As fate would have it, Raila Odinga was defeated. But after the defeat of Raila Odinga, the reality is now dawning on all these political camps, Ruto camp and Rigathi Gachagua's camp, that Raila Odinga is going to be a major factor. For example, if today Raila Odinga were to wake up and tell his supporters to support Kalonzo Musyoka, what magic do you think William Ruto would use to win his re-election? And of course, there's also the possibility that Raila Odinga can work or can support William Ruto. And that's where most of his supporters are headed to. Again, if that were to happen, William Ruto will have some breathing space. So these guys met to figure out, how are we handling the aftermath of Raila Odinga? Because the comments which are being made or coming out of their camps are likely to sway the thinking of Raila Odinga supporters. Because it is clear that Raila Odinga supporters are religiously following Raila Odinga. They'll follow what Raila Odinga is telling them. So if you start abusing Raila Odinga, for example, then how do you expect Raila supporters to support you? So I'm 100% sure that in their meeting, they came up with almost all those scenarios. Number three, which is very important, is the launch of Rigathi Gachagua's political party. Rigathi Gachagua told Kenyans that he was going to launch his party before the end of January. January came, it went. Then he changed that date to another date. He ended up addressing the Kikuyu nation. And he explained that he wanted to bring on board the rest of the country. But I've been seeing some developments. For example, Waititu being a party leader of Farmers Party is significant because Waititu is an ally of Rigathi Gachagua. So probably that's the party, or they are using it as a decoy so that the government can focus on that party while they are working on another political party. So that launch of Rigathi's political party is something which Rigathi Gachagua wants to use effectively to bury William Ruto once and for all. So they are discussing it. How are we going to organize it? How are people going to be facilitated to attend? How are we going to mobilize resources for the big event? How is that party going to work with the current Wiper and DAP Kenya? And I also believe, number 4, that the main intention of this meeting was program of activities. You know, Rigathi Gachagua has been meeting people in Wamunyoro. He has not stepped out of Wamunyoro, which means he's been meeting the Kikuyus. But he needs to now start projecting an image of a national leader. They can only do that if he starts moving to Kambani, if he starts moving to Western Kenya, if he starts moving to the Luo Nation. So I'm 100% convinced that the meeting was about the program of activities for 2024. And lastly, coalition agreement. Rigathi Gachagua has consistently been saying something, that as a community, they made a blunder by entering into Kenya or into UDA party without a written agreement. That parties like the one for Weta, the ones for Chap Chap, Alfred Mutua, and the one for Musalia Mudavadi, all those parties entered into a coalition agreement with a signed document, which is binding them. So because of those mistakes, Rigathi Gachagua would not want a situation where he agrees to enter into some agreement with Kalonzo and Eugene Wamalwa, and is not going to be a presidential candidate without a clearly written agreement. So I'm 100% sure that this meeting was crafting some coalition agreement, which is going to bind most of those political parties. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what you think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.